And then I'll wait for this to go. Well, hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Spirited Healing Academy. I am Reverend Michelle Scripture Brown, and it's truly my pleasure to welcome you all here this morning. Here at the Academy, we are an assembly of people who will teach each other to find the miracle of joyful living from life circumstance to accomplish that which seems impossible. And our intention with these gatherings is to stimulate thought, create connection, and expand consciousness. To do this, we talk about deep things. Sometimes the things we talk about are a little bit triggering. I want to remind you, if you feel triggered, you should really follow that trigger because it's an invitation to change your view of something that you've held as an immutable truth. So follow that trigger, engage in active listening, and know that all of us here are respectful and supportive of each other's journeys. Before we get into today's topic, I want to take a moment to share our opening intention, and everybody is invited to speak this out loud with me. All right, here we go. May I come to understand that blessings are everywhere, that my attitude will affect outcomes, that challenges are often gifts in disguise. May I come to trust that most things can get better with time, that my instincts and gut feelings have value, that a positive attitude makes things go smoother. May I come to see that I have many skills and talents I can use, that I am a positive influence on many people, that there are those around me who wish me well. May I come to value that today is a blessing to be enjoyed, that each person is unique and important, and that each moment of my life has meaning. You know, I did it again, you guys. Did you notice that? I threw in the around, which is not actually in the intention. I feel like I should just slide it in there so that I don't feel like I'm all right, so today's topic.
Your personal touch. That's all.
You like it? Oh, well, that's good to know. Thank you, Mom. Rolling around in my mind for, I don't know, a while.
Michelle,
yeah.
Michelle, you keep freezing. You've frozen twice in the last little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just giving you a heads up about it.
So we missed what you were saying. You have to start again.
Oh, I thought that was just me. Okay, I'm happier now. It's you, it's not me.
Okay, so what I was saying was, today we're going to be talking about trust.
Oh.
And I've been having some thoughts about trust rolling around in my mind for a couple of weeks, maybe even a month or so. And today I just kind of dumped them all out. So hopefully this topic is going to make sense and that we're going to have space for us to have meaningful discussion. I really hope we can dig into this because like I said, the thoughts are still only just forming in my own mind. Okay. All right. So let's see what y'all think. We don't trust ourselves. You know, you don't trust yourself if you are prone to worrying, if you seek to control, if you question others to prove your rightness or authority. We don't trust ourselves because our systems of faith have taught us that we are untrustworthy. The devil will disguise itself and see you as prey, one tradition says. Another says that all things must be handled with care so as not to be contaminated by inherent treacherous elements of life. Even if you were not raised in faith systems, society teaches you the world is not safe and that someone is always out to get you. Lock your doors, protect your children. This is a problem because trust is the essential ingredient in achieving happiness. To be happy, you must trust yourself. And once you do that, you can trust those around you. Once you can trust those around you, you set down your guard and really get into the business of living your life. So there you go. What do you think?
I love this. I love the thought of trust, like really delving deep into manifestation more and more. It's all about trust. It's all about not worrying about the how or the whatever. And so it just kind of comes back around for me from like beginning to end. It makes a full circle for me. This
Totally,
I feel like,
because
yeah, the beginning.
Your ability to manifest anything will be rooted deeply in your beliefs about yourself and what you deserve and all of that. And, you know, if you don't trust yourself, then you kind of miss everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I love this.
You know, I suffer from severe agoraphobia, and I never once thought it had to do with trust. And now I read this and go, really? Is that what this is all about? Now I have to really look into that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Lovely that you're here for this perfect topic just for you.
This is a moment of divine timing.
Actually, thanks for sharing, Aaron, that you suffer from agoraphobia. I have for years as well. But anyway, we don't trust ourselves. What I was thinking to myself is, I think I went out into the world trusting, well, I was very naive and trusting of other people in my life, family, and people out in the world. And then what I just realized in the last 6 months is, I don't know what it was that I read, but it made me realize I think it might have been the holistic psychologist. I don't actually trust myself. And that was kind of a shock and a real, I thought, when I read her, whatever she wrote, I thought, what do you mean I don't trust myself? And then I read her description and went, oh my God, I don't trust that I can keep myself safe. I don't trust that I can protect myself. I don't trust myself. And that, I have to say, that was a gigantic shock to me. So,
you know, that kind of surprises me, Nancy, because, you know, if you think about, I'm bringing it down to a granular level, right? You know, you and I, we always talk about our love of food, and that,
Yeah.
you know, how many times have you said, or I've said, well, I think you've said, I don't trust myself around like those desserts or the chocolate or the ice cream. It's always the ice cream for you.
Yeah.
But, you know, if there's one facet of our life where we know we don't trust ourselves, then that's going to be a truth across the whole of our life, isn't it?
Wow. Hadn't thought of that.
Get these little peeks, little insights into how we really feel about ourselves all the time.
Wow. One thing I will say is, I don't feel safe in the world, and I'm really working to overcome that, to say I am safe when I leave the house. I am safe when I get in our car. I'm safe when we go somewhere. And then I find once I get out there, and if I can set aside my panic, then I usually have a great time, and then I lose track of time. And then I come home a much happier person. But
Right.
I think it's something I heard the other day. Is the fear or the suffering based on reality, or is it in your imagination? And
That's it, exactly.
and that was another in tying in with this, that I went, wow, I got to start looking at my fears. That based in reality is my suffering based in reality at this point in time when something's happening and I'm feeling those emotions.
Anybody want to say anything?
I'm just thinking, I never thought about not trusting myself. But I realized I've always had those fears of not being good enough. And, you know, I work with Alzheimer's people, and my newest client is different from anyone I've ever worked with. And it's like a flip of the switch. She's here with you 1 second, and the next thing she's introducing me as the new teacher. I'm going to teach grade 4. And, you know, I have had several days where I thought I wasn't good enough. to work with this woman.
Mm.
And I guess that's what it comes back to, is trusting my ability, because I know I can work with this woman.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is like I'm gobsmacked here. That's all.
And maybe if it's too much at this exact moment to trust that you have what it takes to work with this person, maybe you can trust that she was brought into your life for a reason,
There you go.
and that
Yeah.
you were brought into her life for a reason. We go back to these ideas of karma and our life contracts and our blueprints, right?
Yes.
And if you're having a challenging time feeling integrated with somebody, it's probably part of your contract, right? Like the hard, shitty stuff is
Yeah.
where we're working out so much of our karma.
Yes. Yes. Thank you, Reverend.
You're welcome. I really wanted to take the time to write out some of the behaviors we might be exhibiting as evidence to ourselves that we don't trust ourselves. Like, how many people on this call are prone to worrying?
Ha 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 ha.
What was your last word there? Approach worthy?
Worrying. How many of us are
Worrying.
prone
Oh,
to
dear God.
worrying?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you
I was going to make a comment about what Nancy had said before, about going out and then realizing that you had a good time. I'm it's slightly the same in the sense that, I'm prone to being a homebody. Yay for being a Cancerian. But like, I know that what I had realized was if someone was like, hey, let's go camping, I'd be like, that's so much work and all of the things, and it's cold at night and this and that. And I would think of all of the things. But then what I really had sifted it down to is if I can make myself comfortable or bring with me the things that make me comfortable, just in case, I will overpack every freaking time. I will tell you that right now. And I won't need most of the stuff. I'll wear 3 outfits, not 50, but I know that I am prepared. And if it gets cold, I have the sweater. And if it gets hot, I have the, tank top, and if it, whatever. But when I get there, I'm having an amazing time. And I'm like, oh, I really got to do this way more often. I love this. I can't wait to come back. But in that moment of, hey, want to do this? My immediate gut instinct in the past was no, I don't, because of the unknown. What if I need something? What if I don't have it? But if I'm able to bring myself to a place of comfort or bring those comfort measures with me, like you were saying, telling yourself that you're safe. Well, what makes you feel safe? Right. And toting that around with you or bringing it with you, like I would have an amazing time. So I'm able to go out and do all of these amazing things and go to these amazing places, knowing that I'll be okay. Technology. I mean, you have a phone with you everywhere, always. You would think that it would go away with the safety, quote unquote, of a cell phone or a McDonald's at every corner. But it's just one of those things. It just made me think of that, actually.
Okay, so I have 2 comments I want to make to that, Rivette. First, and I don't know if you'll remember this, but I find it very interesting that you are dedicated to being an overpacker so that you are prepared for any event. And the reason I find that interesting is because when I first met you, when we were still meeting in that business center, you made a comment about scrolling endlessly for the perfect picture. And how the first one you see and you're like, that's the picture. We should stop there because that's the picture. But then the mind goes, oh, no, but there might be something better. There might be something better. And so we keep scrolling. Do you remember that conversation?
Vaguely. Although I feel like that's a slight difference of like, you know, your intuition saying, hey, here's
Hang
the
on,
right
hang on,
thing.
because what you were saying though, with that example was that we need to trust that it's all happening exactly the way it's supposed to. And it's our doubt that makes us keep scrolling.
Yeah.
So if you trust that you're just packing the right clothes, the 3 outfits you need the most, I don't know. I'm kind of giggling a little bit. I'm watching things converge and, you know, talking about the layers of trust and the indicators of how much trust we actually have with ourselves.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting because then I mean, there are times where I am just packing a little bag and saying, okay, it'll be fine. But I'm still packing from the sweater to the tank top, like no matter what.
Right.
Always, because then like I'm covered. And
Right.
yeah. I mean, there are times for me where I've said, I'm just gonna trust that I have everything I need, and if I need more, somebody else will have it.
Right.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I've been camping, so now I know I will never, ever go again.
Fair point.
Too much dirt, too many bugs.
Yeah. Outdoors. Yeah. Yeah.
Backaches.
Sorry, I killed the conversation, but I just
No.
want to get that
No, you didn't.
job.
I'm laughing, Aaron.
All
I'm
right.
laughing, Aaron, because I'm thinking
Everybody needs to laugh.
me with camping, I'm thinking, where's the indoor plumbing? I want my indoor plumbing going behind a bush and all that stuff. That's not for me. So that's
For me,
when
the
I
worst
was-
thing is the outhouse. Oh, dear God.
The
Yeah.
first
me
question for
home.
me is, where's the nearest motel?
Yeah, that's good, Joanne.
Well, I grew up north, northern Ontario. We went camping all the time, and I love it. I just love getting out in nature and connecting.
Me too, man. Me
And
too.
and now that I kind of live closer to the city, it's, you know, I appreciate it even more just to get away in the middle of Algonquin Park with just a canoe, a backpack, and a tent, and a fishing rod, and just, you know, hanging out with my cousins and stuff, just chilling out. And you know what? You're always, what I'm learning from this is the like the universe is always providing for all the animals, the birds, the bees, everything is provided for, and we're part of that. We're always provided for, and I've come to realize that I actually wrote about this in my chapter. I was writing about pronoia. I mentioned this, I think, a couple of times here, but pronoia is the opposite of paranoia. And basically, instead of the universe out to get you, the universe is always there doing what's exactly best for you at the present time. And sometimes you don't even think it's the best for you, but it's going to push you in the direction that's best for you. I'm really trying to live a pronoia life, or have that type of attitude.
Yeah, I would agree. And like you said, right, like this is trust. We have to believe that to be true. Okay, let's go back to this. Give it another read over. The part here, if you, in the first paragraph, if you question others to prove your rightness or authority. I wrote that. I was thinking about recent conversations right now, like all over social media. I'm right, you're right. I'm right, you're wrong. And, you know, all of us say we don't want the divide. We feel more divided now than we ever have. And we contribute to that dividedness by believing in a concept of right or wrong. Like, how many times have we had the discussion here at Gathering about how there are no absolute rights? There are no absolutes. So many times. And that conversation is really a critical discussion to this concept of rightness. If you think you are right, it inherently means someone else is wrong.
Yes.
Doesn't wanting to prove your rightness come from a place of fear because you're afraid? Because it was interesting. I was watching a talk the other day between the minimalists. They were being interviewed, these two young men, and that are the minimalists, and they live very minimalist lives, very few possessions, etc. And the older man, gentleman who was interviewing them, I was sitting there watching. And the first one, they were attacking this other minimalist that I'm sure you've all heard of, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo. And you may or may not have heard of it. So the first guy, young guy, the minimalist, who I've quite, watched a few of their videos over the years and quite enjoyed some of their philosophies. The first one was really ragging on, picking on Marie Kondo. And I thought to myself, well, why can't she exist? And the older man stepped in and said, why does there have to be only one way?
Yeah.
He said, why can't there be many different approaches, different energy levels, different energies that come into a particular topic and present? Because not everyone's going to find this person appealing. Not everyone's going to find this person appealing. And the gentleman, the interviewer, the older man, said everything that I was thinking from the point of view that why does there have to be somebody who's right and somebody who's wrong? There's just somebody who has a different opinion. And I thought that isn't put out in our world. From the time you're a kid, it's either you do something right or you do something wrong. So it's made a very black and white. And I became a very black and white person. I'm either doing something okay, it's all right, I'm doing the right thing, or I'm not. Like, Michelle, you tease me about the check, this is done, check, this is done. And it's kind of like, and I realized that, like you said many times, Michelle, there are no absolutes. And what's right for that person at that moment in time might be different 10 years from now.
Exactly. It will almost always be different 10 years from now because you're a totally different person. Yeah.
So I think the rightness comes from a basis of fear of being, that you're going to be judged and you're not going to be accepted if you're.
Well, I think it can come from a place of fear, but I think too, it's how do I articulate what I'm thinking here? I think there is a culture of expert, that everyone must be an authority on something. So we are all seeking that thing upon which we are an authority. Heads up, the only thing you're an authority on is yourself. That's it. And most of us are not even aware that we are the authority on ourselves.
Oh.
Our rightness of being. I'm getting a message that my internet was unstable. I don't know if that got through or not. But what I was saying was we look to so many external forces to verify our own right to be, our rightness of being, Anyway, this particular phrase, the way I wrote it, came up after witnessing an interaction between two of my children. Layla said to Ellie, used a word at dinner the other night. And Layla said to her, do you know what that means? And Ellie said, yes. And then she moved on with what she was saying. And then Layla interrupted her again and said, define it.
Oh.
And I said to Layla, just a heads up, when you behave like that, you are communicating to the people you are asking these questions to that you don't trust them, that you don't believe them. And so they are not going to feel safe with you. And I wasn't saying this to like derail her or shame her, but I think this is the way so many of us have been taught to communicate. And I wanted her to realize that if she wants people to trust her, she has to show the trust. Oh, Ellie, you say you know what that means. Okay, great. Move along. Or if the question you really want to know is, hey, can you define that for me? I don't know what that means. That's probably what it was. Ask
Maybe
that
you're
question.
still on mute.
Pardon me?
I was speaking to Annie.
Thanks,
I
Susan.
just told her she was still on mute. Sorry.
Mhm.
What are you going to say, Annie? Good morning.
I was saying, good morning. It was clear that Layla didn't believe that Ellie knew what she was, the context of the word, right?
Yeah.
She was
Yeah.
using it inappropriately, and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
And
think
she
that
just-
that way of speaking is a result of what we're seeing in the divide on social media, is that you have that protection of writing whatever you want and then running away, or having the argument with strangers online. And it is a very much, it's this and that, and we define it like you said. There is a way to have your beliefs and believe in yourself and still be kind about it and not be so like abrupt. It's
In
so
fact,
it's
that's the
actually
only way forward, right? To find a way to be kind.
just accept that you have your opinion. You could be wrong. That's what I learned a lot in the last few years. I don't know anything. So I'm asking questions all the time. Everything I ever thought was right is gone. So I'm always asking.
I've been telling you that for years.
Well, that's true, since I was 15, and I appreciate it. I'm finally listening. But yeah, I think that you see it all the time, which is why I don't talk at all on social media, unless I'm just like yesterday, I posted a thing about a song that I like. And that's about all I do now, because everyone's just angry and arguing. I don't know if it's COVID. I don't know if it was before that, but it's not a friendly environment anymore. And everyone is always adamant that they are right. Everyone else is wrong.
I've talked about this a little bit on social media about why this is happening now. A couple of years ago, I don't know if you guys will remember, some of you were there for the conversation about how duality is a construct. It doesn't really exist. Remember, we had that mind-blowing discussion. What's happening right now in the ascension is that to go from 3D to 5D, the whole concept of duality has to die. So we're in like the swan song of duality. This is like the swan song is like the loudest, generally for swans, the most beautiful song that they will sing, and then they die, right? But in duality, what we're seeing is it's the loudest, most divisive. No, I'm right. Everything's black and or white. That's it. Right and wrong. It's at a fever pitch because we're going to see that there is no right and wrong. We're going to ideally find our way back to each other. All I know is what's right for me in the moment I'm in. I don't know what's right for you. I don't know what's right for them. I don't know what'll be right for me next week. Right now, this is what I know is right. And if we can create to live in that flexible, adaptable, evolving space, man, we'll be so much happier.
Mhm.
I'll be happier when you get off dial-up.
You'll be happier when what?
When you get off dial-up. You froze again during that conversation.
Sorry.
Kung, kung, kung.
Well.
I'm sorry. You better say that again though, because we missed some of it.
Well. I don't know what I said.
Okay. Moving on.
Well, you're talking about how duality's dying, and and stuff, and it's interesting because I lived with a guy. My guy all along has never been able to take sides in anything. He sees everybody's point of view. It's been a wonderful teaching thing for me. Like lately, I've been thanking him for all the things he's taught me over the decades we've been together, and it's just amazing because he really sees all sides of the story. And I go, I've never met a human being like that who can see all sides of a story, because I'm not like that. And I'm working very hard to be more flexible
In the
and open-minded.
past, you were not like that.
In the past, yes. In the past, yes. Yes. Touche.
All right, let's read over what I wrote here about trust and see if there's any last stuff that wants to come out to play. We don't trust ourselves. You don't trust yourself if you are prone to worrying, if you seek control, if you question others to prove your rightness or authority. We don't trust ourselves because our systems of faith taught us we are untrustworthy. The devil will disguise itself and seize you as prey, one tradition says. Another says that all things must be handled with care so as not to be contaminated by inherent treacherous elements of life. Even if you were not raised in faith systems, society teaches you the world is not safe and someone is always out to get you. Lock your doors and protect your children. This is a problem because trust is the essential ingredient in achieving happiness. To be happy, you must trust yourself. And once you do that, you can trust those around you. Once you can trust those around you, you set down your guard and really get into the business of living your life. Any final
So is-
thoughts?
So
The thought
is
that
that,
comes to mind for me is that we've got kind of these, we got a personality, and then we've got this individuality. Like we got like who we really are down deep, but we don't really always feel safe to show that person. So we put on this personality, and that's the person that goes out in public and kind of can laugh and make jokes and whatever. It's basically kind of an ego construct, but there's this individuality that we're all supposed to be. We're not supposed to be like anybody else. We're supposed to be like a unique divine spark of God, but we're trying to be like this group that we hang out with or whatever.
Mhm.
So we need to trust that we are supposed to be who we are, and trust our feelings, trust our desires, trust our, other things that we like. And maybe we see things a little different, and it's nice to share the way we see things, because that helps the whole world, and it helps really the divine have a unique experience that only we can provide.
Yeah. And you know what I think you'll like too, Mike? I think if we can get really deep into this trust, it's so much easier to just know really the only thing that exists is love. Right? Yeah. Yeah.
And you know what? It's all, I think I've said this before too. It's like it's all perfect, even though it's like imperfect, but it's like perfectly imperfect. And
Right.
that's just the way it's supposed to be, especially in duality. I don't know exactly how the next realm is, but
Mm.
so
Anybody
which came,
else? Yeah.
which came first, the chicken or the egg? So do you work on trusting yourself first, and then you will go out into the world and trust? Or do you work on trusting the world first, and then, I think I answered my own question. You work on trusting yourself first, then it'll be
Yeah.
reflected back to you, law of reflection.
Yeah, because of the law of reflection, right, Nancy?
Yeah, yeah,
When you go out into the world, you've learned to trust yourself if what you experience are trusting things.
yes, yeah. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Anything they want to say or ask or
Our mutual friend, Bonnie Van Toen,
yes.
she once pointed out to me that I expect people to, I guess I have my own expectations of them, but mostly to treat me the way I treat them.
Mm.
And eventually they don't. And then the friendship ends. And I'm starting to wonder if that's also a trust thing. I feel like I can't trust them to be what I want them to be, or to, just to rely on them in general. And so again, this might be more, I have to trust myself that they are them and I am me, and that's just the way it goes. And, I can't expect them to be me in that same mindset. So,
And nor do you really want them to be you, right?
Right.
Like we have relationships with people to show us a totally different view of the world.
yeah. So I'm starting to see that. Anyway, I'm getting a lot out of this, is I guess what I'm saying.
And the other thing I would say to that, Aaron, is that, and I say this a lot, your expectations are not other people's obligations,
Right. Right.
and their expectations are not your obligations either.
Yeah.
And that life is unfolding exactly for us, not to us.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's easy to say that, right?
I know.
But
but
man,
at
when
that
I'm in the
moment-
thick of the mud,
Exactly. Mhm. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm still struggling with that, but I've gotten further along over the last 5 or 6 years. Every time you say that, I get less triggered.
It's a process, right, Nancy? Like,
It's a process, and I'm starting to grasp what you guys have meant for years. Because I remember the first time, I think Bev said it at a meeting, and I just sat there and a volcano exploded inside of me, and I thought that's just stupid, But it was like it was me triggered big time, like you said, and that's when we learn. I'm realizing about triggers now this year, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like what Annie said, because even when things are, like you said, you're in the thick of the mud, when you look back years later, sometimes months later, you can see why it happened,
Mhm.
what you learned from it, how you gain experience from it. No, that's really, I've never heard that before. That's awesome.
Okay. Awesome.
All right. Well, if nobody has anything else they want to say, what I'm going to do now is mute you all. And then we will do what we always do, which is conclude with our affirmation of hope. Please feel free to say it with me out loud. Hope, fragile, luminous, and buoyant, fill me now. Bring your gifts of optimism, faith, and positivity. Grow strong within me today and every day. Increase my connection with those around me. Balance my moods with a lightness of being and touch all those I meet with blessings. Hope, fragile, luminous, and buoyant, fill me now. Humble and expand my heart with openness, making me compassionate, relaxed, and kind, aware of the many blessings I have each day, making of me a better, more human person. Hope is a gift that passes through me to others. And so it is. Thanks for being here, everyone. Have a beautiful week. We'll see you all hopefully again next Sunday. And if you have any topics you want to talk about, please let me know. Thanks.
Thank you.
You're
Have a
welcome.
wonderful week.